I thought I'd make a recording here about one of the exercises that you're asked to do this week. Comes from exercise 2.2b, problem number 7. In these problems, I believe there's 2 or 3 of them, it asks you to write some equations using where v represents the value. So in these problems, we've got v equals some value, a dollar amount, and then we're going to write it in terms of pennies and dimes and nickels. For this particular one, we've got pennies plus dimes. Now, the P and the D, what they represent are the number of pennies you would have or the number of dimes you would have. So we actually need to put some sort of coefficient here in the front that when we multiply the number of pennies we have times this coefficient, it will put it into dollar amounts. So what we put there is actually the value of a penny, but in terms of dollars. So we do 0.01, and for a dime it would be 0.10. So that way, if you had this equation and somebody asked you, given that you had 20 pennies and 3 dimes, what's the total dollar value? You could plug in 20 for P, you could plug in 3 for D, multiply them by the coefficients. So these coefficients are being multiplied by each of these, and then you would end up with a total dollar amount. One of the next part of the problem, they give us what each of these variables. They want us to take it one step further, and then we define the variables. And P just equals P, so there's nothing to change there, but they tell us that D is equal to Q minus 13. And so what we're going to do is we're going to replace this D here with Q minus 13. So then our equation is going to look like this. It's going to say V equals 0.01 P, since P just equaled P over here, and then plus 0.10 times Q minus 13. Now, one thing that gets tricky is where do you put parentheses? Well, you know that Q minus 13 represents D, and therefore we have to put a parentheses around this because this whole thing is just D. And so if we don't put parentheses around it, then we haven't used what this is over here. So pretend these had parentheses. You want to plug that in for D. Now you can take it one more step and you can simplify this, or you can just leave it as it is. I believe in the answer key they've just left it. But if you would like, you could simplify it. You could say V equals 0.01 P plus 0.1 Q minus 1.3. And so when you do that, now it just takes away those parentheses. But just kind of recognize that this and this are the same thing, just with the parentheses broken down. We've used PEMDAS and distributed that 0.1 to both of those. So that's kind of a quick overview on that. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I hope this kind of clarifies a little bit. I know these problems can be a little bit tricky. So have a great day.